Welcome to Windsor Teaches Latin Grammar. In this session, I'm going to give you a brief tour of the Latin subjunctive, in particular the pluperfect and imperfect variations of the subjunctive. Okay, so first thing that's worth noting is in Latin so far, we are used to cum always meaning with. That's when cum is used with a noun, and that's mean always will mean with. But when cum is used with a subjunctive, it is now always going to mean when. So something that's worth noting before we continue, cum in this context is always going to mean when paired with a subjunctive. So how is the pluperfect subjunctive formed? So let's think about our stems and our tense markers and things like that. So let's say we're using the verb amare, to love. This would be my stem, A-M-A-V, amav. My tense marker would look a little bit like this. So if it has this isse somewhere in the middle, you can bet it's going to be a pluperfect subjunctive. And my personal endings are going to look a bit like this. So these are very, very familiar to us. They're almost identical to the present tense endings, except for the M for I, which would normally be O in the present tense indicative case. So we've got M for I, S for you singular, T for he, she, or it, mus for we, tis for you plural, and unt for they. Very, very familiar, apart from the M ending at the top there. So let's talk about the imperfect subjunctive now. So our stem for that is going to look exactly like if we had an infinitive verb. So let's say we're using amare, to love. You're going to use the infinitive as our stem there. So the good thing about this is there's no part in the middle. It goes straight into its endings, which are identical to the pluperfect subjunctive. Again, MST, mus, tis, unt. The only unfamiliar one that's out of place would be the M. So M for I, S for you singular, T for he, she, or it, mus for we, tis for you plural, and unt for they. Okay, so now we've looked at the forms. Let's think about how they're used. So I'm going to give you the same sentence, just using different subjunctives each time, and we'll see how the sense changes. Let's start with this one. Cum magister Windsor coffeum bibisset melior sentiebat. Obviously, the Romans did not have coffee, so I've invented my own word here for it, coffeum. So let's see what the translation of this would be. Cum magister Windsor coffeum bibisset melior sentiebat. When Mr. Windsor had drunk the coffee, he felt better. So the pluperfect subjunctive, always translated as had done something. So here is the first action, me drinking the coffee. The second action is me feeling better. So what is the sense of this sentence then? So the first action, having drunk the coffee, had been completed or had finished before the second action took place. So drinking the coffee happened first, and then I felt better after that first action had been completed. Let's see how it would be different in the imperfect subjunctive. Cum magister Windsor coffeam biberet melior sentiebat. So this time I'm using imperfect subjunctive. So cum always meaning when in this case. When Mr. Windsor was drinking the coffee, he felt better. So we got the same two actions, just with a different subjunctive. First action, me drinking the coffee. Second action, me feeling better. So what on earth is the difference? Let's find out. The first action and the second action are happening concurrently or at the same time. So while I was drinking the coffee, I started to feel better. So those two actions, the drinking of the coffee and the feeling better, are happening side by side concurrently at the same time. So I've given you 4 sentences here. Let's just look at them briefly. Cives cum clamorem audivisent domi redierunt. Number 2, servus cum in fundo laboraret fessus sentiebat. Number 3, feles cum canem vidisset celeriter fugit. And number 4, cum discipulus in lectione clamaret magister eratus erat. So what I'd like you guys to do is to write down each sentence, and in each sentence underline the subjunctive verb and decide and label it if it is imperfect or pluperfect subjunctive. I want you to break down that sentence as I had in the previous parts of this video. What's the first action? What's the second action? And task 3, I'd like you to finally translate that sentence, please. For an extension task, I want you to, if you have an imperfect subjunctive, to change it to pluperfect and vice versa. So if you've got pluperfect, change it into imperfect. How does that change affect the sense of that sentence? Okay, thank you for watching. This has been Windsor Teaches Latin Grammar.